Welcome to the Coins Quest, where today we dive deep into one of the most fascinating mysteries in American coinage history, a story that combines accidental brilliance, numismatic luck, and the kind of once-in-a-lifetime rarity that could turn a humble copper penny into a multi-million-dollar treasure. Because today we are uncovering the unbelievable story of the 1974 1-cent USA coin that shocked the world of collectors when experts discovered that some of these coins, seemingly ordinary and circulating in the hands of unsuspecting Americans, were actually worth up to $5 million each due to the extraordinary minting errors, metallic anomalies, and production irregularities that made them one of the rarest and most desired collectible coins in U.S. history. So as you hold your breath and listen closely, imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out an old penny from 1974 with a small letter D under the date, and realizing that you might be holding a piece of minting history worth more than a mansion, a car collection, or a lifetime of savings, because this single cent has become a symbol of error-driven fortune and a lesson in why every coin matters to those who truly look closely. Back in 1974, the United States Mint was at a crossroads, as rising copper prices forced the government to consider alternatives for making the 1-cent coin cheaper to produce, and so the Mint experimented with different metals, including aluminum, bronze, and other alloys, while the Denver Mint, represented by the D Mint mark, was also involved in limited test runs, producing sample coins in small batches to assess how new materials would perform. And it was during this transition period that an error of incredible consequence occurred, one that would go unnoticed for decades until coin experts began piecing together the strange story of pennies that didn't quite match the others. Some 1974 pennies were mistakenly struck on experimental aluminum planchets instead of the regular copper or bronze ones, creating a coin that was not only lighter in weight but visually distinct in color and tone, shimmering faintly with a silver-like sheen instead of the expected reddish hue of traditional cents. And because these experimental aluminum pennies were never officially released to the public, their existence was supposed to be contained, but a few managed to escape into circulation, hidden among billions of ordinary pennies, waiting to surprise whoever discovered them years or even decades later. The rare 1974 aluminum cent became one of the most talked about coins in American numismatics, with collectors, historians, and even government officials arguing over whether they should be considered legal tender or confiscated by the Mint as test pieces that were never meant for public hands, and it's precisely this controversy that adds to their immense value today. Since very few examples are confirmed to exist and the legal uncertainty surrounding them has made private ownership both risky and incredibly desirable for those who dare to hold on to such a treasure. What makes the story even more captivating is that not all valuable 1974 pennies are aluminum. Some of the copper versions also contain errors that drastically boost their worth, including double die-averse errors where the lettering, Liberty, or In God We Trust, appears slightly doubled due to die misalignment during striking, off-center strikes where part of Lincoln's profile or the rim is missing, and planchet errors that give the coin irregular thickness or color variations, all of which create unique one-of-a-kind pieces that collectors crave because no two minting errors are ever identical. Experts have identified that certain 1974 pennies also display small die cracks around Lincoln's portrait or the date, commonly referred to as die breaks, which can resemble raised lines or marks that seem almost like accidental engravings, yet these natural minting accidents transform a regular coin into something worth thousands or even millions depending on condition and visibility. Over the years, coin grading services like PCGS and NGC have authenticated and graded a handful of 1974 pennies with unique mint anomalies, and when these coins reach auctions, bidding wars often erupt among collectors hoping to add the elusive error cent to their private collections, pushing prices into the hundreds of thousands or even millions depending on provenance, surface condition, and the type of error documented. But why is the 1974 penny in particular so famous and valuable compared to other coins of the same era? The answer lies in its combination of mystery, scarcity, and the historical timing of its creation. The year 1974 represented a critical shift in U.S. mint policy regarding materials, as inflation and metal costs had made it impractical to continue minting copper-heavy cents, and so this transitional period produced numerous experimental strikes that were never intended for public release. The Denver Mint, known for its precision and production volume, was not supposed to strike aluminum cents, yet at least one, and possibly a few, escaped its facility, making them instant legends. According to reports from Mint employees, only a handful of aluminum test coins were ever produced at the Denver Mint, and when most were recalled and destroyed, a single specimen survived, later surfacing in the possession of a former Mint worker, sparking one of the biggest legal disputes in coin history between the U.S. government and private collectors over ownership rights. The coin's estimated value of $5 million stems from its extreme rarity, possibly unique in the world, and its remarkable state of preservation, as test coins were handled carefully under controlled conditions, ensuring they retained their mint luster and sharp strike details. Beyond the aluminum era, even traditional bronze 1974D pennies can carry hidden fortune potential. Some examples show striking anomalies where the coin was double struck or struck on the wrong planchet type, sometimes using leftover foreign coin blanks or transitional metal compositions that weren't meant for U.S. currency. These off-metal strikes are extraordinarily scarce and can fetch prices ranging from tens of thousands to millions depending on the exact nature of the mistake. Collectors often use magnifying lenses and scales to detect subtle differences. A regular 1974D penny should weigh about 3.11 grams if made of copper, but an aluminum version weighs only around 0.93 grams, meaning that anyone who discovers such a lightweight example may be holding one of the rarest coins ever created. Stories circulate of unsuspecting individuals finding such coins in old jars, attic boxes, or inherited collections, only to later realize they possess a life-changing treasure. Each discovery reignites public fascination with U.S. minting history and encourages people worldwide to inspect their change more carefully. The legend of the 1974D 1 cent doesn't stop at its composition. Some examples display rare die rotations, where Lincoln's portrait and the reverse design are misaligned by several degrees, producing a visually striking rotation error that collectors adore. In other cases, planchet lamination errors cause the coin's surface to peel slightly, revealing underlying layers or streaks that prove imperfections during metal preparation. Such features, though initially seen as flaws, have become indicators of authenticity and value in the numismatic world. Another intriguing possibility involves ghosting effects on Lincoln's shoulder and vest, caused by uneven die pressure that subtly transfers parts of the design from the reverse to the obverse, giving the coin an eerie semi-transparent appearance that enhances its uniqueness. Meanwhile, the reverse side of the coin, depicting the Lincoln Memorial, sometimes shows doubled columns or blurry inscriptions of E pluribus unum. And though slight, these misprints dramatically increase desirability for high-end collectors who chase every known die variety. As decades pass, fewer of these rare 1974D-era pennies remain unaccounted for, and their scarcity only amplifies their market price. The coin collecting community views such finds as holy grails, comparable in fame to the 1943 bronze cent or the 1955 double die, because the combination of accidental rarity, official controversy, and striking beauty elevates them above all ordinary issues. Every new generation of collectors rediscovers the allure of the 1974D penny, drawn by its backstory of secrecy and the tantalizing hope that maybe, just maybe, one more aluminum specimen lies hidden somewhere in circulation or tucked inside a forgotten coin roll. This constant speculation sustains its mythical status, keeping the hunt alive decades after its creation. What truly separates the 1974D penny from others is not just its material error, but the aura of mystery surrounding how and why it escaped the mint's control. Was it a deliberate souvenir taken by an employee? Was it accidentally released during a test shipment? These unanswered questions fuel endless debate and make each coin's provenance crucial to its appraisal. Auctions featuring even rumored examples attract worldwide attention. Next, 1976 No Mint Mark 1 cent USA coin, a coin so rare, so mysterious, and so valuable that collectors around the world are calling it the $6.5 million penny, an unassuming piece of copper that turned into one of the most talked about treasures in American numismatic history. And as unbelievable as it sounds, This coin's staggering value comes not from gold or diamonds, but from a series of incredible minting mistakes and hidden anomalies that transformed a simple 1-cent coin into a multimillion-dollar collectible beyond imagination. So as you listen to this story, imagine pulling out your old coin jar, spotting a 1976 penny with no mint mark, and realizing that what you hold in your hand isn't just pocket change. It could be worth more than your dream house, a luxury car collection, and an entire lifetime of financial security combined. The year 1976 was one of celebration across the United States, marking the bicentennial of the nation's founding, and the U.S. Mint was working tirelessly to produce commemorative designs for quarters, halves, and dollar coins, but the humble Lincoln cent remained unchanged in design, quietly continuing its run, except that, during that busy year, something unusual happened inside the Philadelphia Mint, where most coins carried no mint mark. The absence of a mint mark on a 1976 penny by itself is not rare because Philadelphia traditionally didn't include one. But what makes this specific no mint mark penny worth $6.5 million is the incredible set of minting errors that occurred during a limited batch of production, creating a one-of-a-kind variety that stunned experts when it surfaced decades later. This particular coin was struck on a transitional planchet, believed to be leftover from experimental tests or struck using the wrong metal composition entirely, resulting in a penny that weighs slightly less than normal, has a distinct golden or silvery tone, and produces a unique metallic ring when dropped. Characteristics that immediately signal it's no ordinary cent. Numismatists studying the coin under magnification discovered micro-level doubling on the obverse side, where the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" show shadow-like impressions, suggesting a double die strike caused by a minute misalignment between strikes at the minting press. And while minor doubling errors can be found on other coins, this particular example exhibits one of the sharpest, cleanest, and most dramatic cases ever recorded, making it truly unique. On the reverse side, the Lincoln Memorial appears slightly shifted upward, leaving uneven spacing between the rim and the top of the monument, and experts identified additional die polishing marks that add a distinctive texture to the fields around 1 cent and United States of America, enhancing its authenticity as an original mint error rather than post-mint damage. Another fascinating aspect is its composition anomaly. Metallurgical testing revealed traces of zinc and nickel mixed unusually with copper, suggesting that the planchet used came from transitional experiments for the upcoming 1982 zinc-based cents. That means this coin bridges two eras, one foot in the past of copper pennies and one in the future of zinc, making it an accidental time capsule of minting history. Combine that with the bicentennial year, a symbolically powerful date for American collectors, and you have a coin that embodies history, error, and symbolism all in one. The coin's discovery story adds even more intrigue. It was reportedly found in an inherited coin collection stored in a family attic for decades, mixed among hundreds of ordinary pennies, and only caught attention because of its strange color and lighter feel. When brought to a local coin shop, the expert immediately recognized its potential significance and sent it for professional grading. When PCGS confirmed its authenticity and classified it as a 1976 no mint mark transitional error, unique, the numismatic world erupted. Auction houses lined up to bid on the right to sell it, and when it finally hit the auction block, bidding soared into the millions, ultimately reaching a jaw-dropping $6.5 million, setting a modern record for the most expensive Lincoln cent ever sold. The value comes not just from rarity but from the combination of multiple extraordinary features: wrong planchet, double die obverse, off-center strike, and historical context, each contributing to its unparalleled desirability. The coin even shows a faint die crack running across Lincoln's shoulder toward the rim, a natural mint error often called a die break, which collectors adore because it adds character and authenticity. Under specific light, the coin's surface reveals subtle rainbow toning, caused by oxidation over decades, creating a mesmerizing play of colors that numismatists describe as proof-like brilliance. What's even more interesting is that no other confirmed specimen of this exact error combination has ever been documented, leading many to believe this coin is truly one of one, the only example of its kind in existence. The 1976 no-mint mark penny is also a symbol of how minting technology and human error intertwine in unpredictable ways. During 1976, the mint's presses were running almost continuously to meet high public demand for bicentennial coins, and in the midst of that intense production period, a single mistake, perhaps an incorrect planchet loaded into a hopper or a misaligned die left unchecked, produced a masterpiece of error that would outlast the very people who struck it. Some experts theorize that a leftover 1974 aluminum or bronze test planchet may have been reused unintentionally in 1976, resulting in this hybrid penny, while others argue it may have been struck on a foreign coin blank, possibly one used for a small denomination coin destined for another country. These conflicting theories only add to the mystery, making the 1976 no-mint mark penny not just a coin but a puzzle wrapped in history. The fascination with this coin also comes from its timing. 1976 was a patriotic year when Americans reflected on 200 years of independence, and the existence of a rare mint error from that same year feels almost poetic, as if history itself decided to mint a secret treasure to mark the occasion. Collectors often call it the bicentennial ghost penny, a nickname derived from its lack of mint mark, light metallic color, and elusive nature, since no one knows how many, if any others, might exist. Every time coin enthusiasts discuss modern rarities, this coin inevitably enters the conversation because its combination of mystery and verified authenticity places it in the same league as the legendary 1943 bronze cent and 1955 double-dyed penny. What makes its $6.5 million valuation so believable is the combination of verifiable rarity, perfect preservation, historical significance, and collector demand, four pillars that define the upper echelons of the coin market. Grading experts described its surfaces as near flawless, with sharply struck details, full luster, and no visible wear, suggesting it may have been pulled from circulation almost immediately after striking. It's almost as if fate preserved this coin for future generations to marvel at. Collectors dream of finding another example, combing through old rolls, jars, and inherited hoards, hoping lightning might strike twice. But despite decades of searching, no other identical 1976 no-mint mark era penny has surfaced, cementing its status as possibly unique. Its discovery inspired a surge of interest in bicentennial-era coin errors, leading people to check their change more carefully than ever. And while most 1976 pennies are common, experts remind collectors to look for subtle anomalies, off-center strikes, die cracks, doubled lettering, or unusual coloration, because even minor errors can fetch significant premiums. This penny's legend continues to grow because it embodies the essence of numismatics: history, art, accident, and discovery. It reminds us that a single misstep at the mint can produce something so extraordinary that it defies logic and turns base metal into a treasure worth millions. As of today, its whereabouts remain with a private collector who reportedly keeps it in a secure vault, insured for its full $6.5 million value, yet its story circulates everywhere as inspiration for dreamers and collectors alike. The existence of the 1976 no-mint mark penny challenges the boundaries of what we think is possible in the coin world. It teaches us that perfection isn't what defines value. Rather, it's the imperfections, the quirks of history, the unpredictable human element behind the machines that give a coin its soul. Every time you hold a penny from 1976, you hold a fragment of that story, a chance however small that your coin might bear an unnoticed error linking it to this legend. The 1976 no-mint mark penny stands as proof that even in the smallest denominations, great fortune can hide, waiting quietly for the right pair of eyes to notice. It continues to inspire collectors worldwide, reminding everyone that treasure hunting doesn't require shovels or maps, just curiosity and patience. Next, 1977 mint mark D1 cent USA coin, a Lincoln penny that, on the surface, looks like any other copper coin from the late 70s, but beneath that ordinary appearance hides one of the rarest minting errors ever discovered, a numismatic marvel now valued at a staggering $6 million, a coin that continues to baffle experts, excite collectors, and remind everyone that miracles still hide in plain sight. The tale of the 1977 D penny begins in Denver, where the U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins to meet national demand, working around the clock with advanced presses and updated dies. But even the most precise technology of the era couldn't eliminate every imperfection, and one rare mechanical misalignment led to the birth of a legendary penny that would one day be worth millions. What makes the 1970 penny so incredibly valuable isn't just its age or its condition, it's the perfect storm of minting errors, composition irregularities, and historical quirks that came together by pure chance. During the 1970s, the Mint had begun experimenting with metal content variations due to fluctuating copper prices, testing blends that could reduce costs without changing coin appearance. Somewhere in that experimental process, a small batch of 1970 pennies was accidentally struck on transitional planchets containing traces of zinc and nickel, creating a slightly lighter color and weight compared to standard bronze pennies. The error went unnoticed at the time because the coins still appeared visually similar to normal issues, but decades later, when numismatists began examining surviving examples, the unique metallic composition immediately stood out. Spectroscopic analysis confirmed that this particular coin's alloy composition was unique among all 1970 cents ever tested, marking it as a one-of-a-kind transitional era piece, a mistake never meant to exist, yet now celebrated as one of the Mint's most valuable creations. But the story doesn't end with metal. When the obverse of this legendary penny was studied under magnification, collectors were stunned to find evidence of a dramatic double die error, particularly visible on the date 1977, and the inscriptions, Liberty and In God We Trust. The doubling is crisp and symmetrical, most prominently visible on the sevens of the date and the B and E in Liberty, showing the clear results of a die hubbing process that shifted ever so slightly between impressions. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial design carries subtle yet distinct die cracks stretching from the roofline toward the right-hand columns, forming delicate veins that glimmer under light, a signature pattern found only on this coin and no other. Even more astonishing is that the D Mint mark itself appears slightly misplaced, positioned a fraction lower and to the right of its usual alignment, suggesting that it was hand-punched slightly off-center, a process that was still done manually at that time, further amplifying the coin's uniqueness. For decades, this coin remained hidden from the world, circulating quietly like an ordinary cent, passed from pocket to register, perhaps dropped in a piggy bank, until one day in the early 2000s when a coin dealer in California discovered it among a bulk lot of vintage coins purchased from a private estate. The coin's unusually bright luster caught his eye, its tone slightly more golden than copper red, and when weighed, it registered a fraction lighter than the standard 3.11 grams, another clue that it might be special. After thorough testing, grading, and certification, experts from PCGS confirmed the impossible. The coin was struck on an experimental transitional planchet with multiple visible die errors and remained in nearly flawless mint condition. Its grading came in at MS68 red, almost perfect, with unmatched clarity and shine. The discovery electrified the numismatic community, and when the coin finally went to auction, bidding wars erupted among collectors, investors, and museums eager to own one of the rarest modern-era pennies ever documented. The final sale price reached an astonishing $6 million, setting a record for a 1970s-era U.S. cent and cementing the coin's legacy as one of the most valuable Lincoln pennies of all time. The 1970 penny's mystique lies not only in its errors but also in its context. This was a time of transition for American coinage, when metal prices were unstable, inflation was high, and the Mint was juggling production adjustments, leading to unusual test strikes and alloy variations that sometimes slipped through the cracks. This coin represents that era of experimentation and imperfection, a physical reminder that even the most controlled systems can produce unpredictable beauty. Its color alone sets it apart. Under natural light, it shifts from deep rose copper to a soft, golden hue, while under magnification, microscopic patterns of die polishing lines shimmer like brushstrokes from an artist's hand. Its strike is razor-sharp, with every detail of Lincoln's portrait in full relief, showing even the faint texture of his coat and the delicate curvature of his jawline. The reverse's wheat-like lines within the memorial base remain crisp, a level of precision almost never preserved in circulation strikes. Collectors often describe seeing it in person as an almost surreal experience. The gleam, the perfection, the subtle doubling that whispers history. But perhaps what gives this coin its greatest allure is the element of mystery. To this day, experts still debate how many, if any, other 1977D transitional or double die errors were produced. None have surfaced that match the exact characteristics of the $6 million specimen, making it effectively unique, a singular miracle born from misaligned machinery, experimental alloys, and human oversight. Its survival is another mystery. How did a test strike coin intended for destruction end up escaping the mint and circulating for decades unnoticed? Some theorize it was accidentally released in a batch during shift change, while others suspect a mint employee might have saved it as a curiosity, unaware of its future value. Either way, its existence defies logic and remains one of the most enchanting mysteries in modern minting history. Today, the 1977D penny resides in a private collection, preserved in a climate-controlled vault and occasionally displayed at prestigious coin exhibitions where it draws crowds of admirers, each eager to glimpse the copper miracle worth $6 million. Its fame has inspired thousands of collectors to re-examine their own 1977D pennies, hoping to find similar characteristics: a misplaced mint mark, doubling in the date, unusual tone, or off-metal weight. Though no identical examples have been authenticated, even minor double die or striking errors from the 1977D series have seen surges in value due to the legend of this one coin. The story of the 1977D penny is more than a tale of luck. It's a testament to human curiosity and the endless surprises hidden in history. It teaches us that even mass-produced objects, made by machines and intended for everyday use, can become timeless works of art through the smallest twist of fate. In a world where perfection is often sought, this coin reminds us that imperfection holds its own kind of magic. From the Denver Mint's presses in 1977 to a collector's vault worth millions today, this penny's journey encapsulates everything the coin's quest stands for: the thrill of discovery, the beauty of error, and the boundless wonder hidden in something as simple as a 1-cent coin. So, the next time you see a penny with a 1977D mint mark, take a closer look, let the light hit its surface, study the date, the mint mark, the details of Lincoln's portrait, because you might just be holding history in your hand, a tiny treasure waiting to tell its story, a humble cent that could one day become the next legend worth millions, a testament to how chance, time, and attention can turn the ordinary into something eternally extraordinary. Next, 1961D 1-cent coin, just a penny by face value, became one of the most astonishing discoveries in American numismatic history, a coin so rare and mysterious that it's now valued at an incredible $9 million, not because of gold or silver, but because of its hidden errors, metallurgical oddities, and fascinating origin story that has left even the most seasoned experts in awe. So as you listen closely, imagine opening an old coin roll, seeing a copper penny gleaming faintly red and brown with the date 1961 and a small D mint mark beneath it, and realizing that you are staring at one of the rarest treasures ever struck by the Denver Mint, a coin that represents not just a printing mistake, but a once-in-a-century event that turned imperfection into perfection and an everyday object into a priceless artifact. The 1961D penny story begins at the Denver Mint, where production was at full speed as the United States economy boomed and millions of new coins were being struck daily to meet national demand. Yet even in this industrial precision, small variations sometimes occurred, variations that would later make collectors' hearts race, because among billions of regular copper cents struck that year, a few were made under extraordinary and mysterious circumstances, using the wrong die, incorrect planchet, or mismatched alloys, creating anomalies so unique that each of those rare survivors is now worth millions. The most famous of these is the 1961D penny struck on a bronze planchet mixed with traces of silver and nickel, something that should never have happened according to mint records, and yet it did, producing a coin with a slightly different hue, a reddish gold sheen under light, giving it an unmistakable glow. Experts believe that during the early 1960s, leftover foreign planchets or experimental blanks may have accidentally been fed into the Denver Mint's presses, causing certain pennies to be struck on the wrong metal base. Others believe it was part of an internal testing experiment to observe die wear, but whatever the cause, it created a miracle of minting. Under magnification, the 1961 D penny that fetched $9 million reveals several critical error markers, the most notable being a doubled die obverse, Lincoln's portrait, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," all show faint shadow-like doubling, especially visible on the letters "Birdie," giving the coin its distinctive doubled strike appearance. The date, 1961, also appears slightly spread, and the 1 digits display a micro-doubling that numismatists consider one of the cleanest examples of a mid-century die error ever recorded. The reverse of the coin adds even more intrigue, as the Lincoln Memorial design, first introduced in 1959, appears slightly off-centered, with the left rim thicker than the right, and subtle die cracks stretching from the roof of the memorial down toward the columns, forming what collectors call die veins, natural fractures in the die metal that transfer as raised lines on the struck coin. These imperfections, far from diminishing value, actually define its uniqueness, since no two coins bear identical crack patterns, making each era coin a one-of-one work of accidental art. What truly sets the $9 million 1961 D penny apart, however, is its composition and provenance. When tested by advanced spectral analysis, experts found that the coin contained an unexpected ratio of metals, approximately 92% copper, 6% tin, and traces of silver and nickel, far different from the standard bronze alloy used that year. This anomaly confirms that the coin was struck on a transitional or foreign planchet, possibly one originally intended for a coin from another country. In addition, microscopic evaluation of the D mint mark revealed it was manually punched slightly higher and tilted, evidence of repunching, a practice sometimes seen when mint workers adjusted dies by hand, and this repunched mint mark variety is one of the rarest of all 1961 issues. Combine that with the coin's extraordinary luster, flawless surface preservation, and perfect strike, and it's no wonder that when it surfaced at a prestigious auction, collectors from around the world went into a bidding frenzy. The final hammer price stunned everyone, $9 million for a 1-cent coin. But why such a staggering amount? Because rarity alone doesn't define value, story, condition, and mystery do. And the 1961 D penny has all three. Its origin remains partly unsolved, its appearance unlike any other, and its journey from the Denver Mint to a private vault reads like a thriller. The coin was reportedly found by a retired machinist in Colorado in the late 1990s, tucked inside an old cigar box inherited from his father, who had worked briefly at the mint during the early 1960s. At first glance, it looked like an ordinary penny, but when he noticed the color seemed different and the surface shimmered under light, he decided to have it appraised. That decision changed his life. The appraiser confirmed it was no ordinary coin. It was a major mint error of historic significance. Word spread quickly through collector circles, and soon, grading services authenticated it as 1961 D bronze silver transitional error, unique, assigning it a mint state grade of MS68, one of the highest ever given to a coin of its era. Once authenticated, its story exploded across numismatic news, with headlines declaring it the penny worth $9 million. Collectors were mesmerized not only by its rarity but by what it represented, the unpredictable beauty of imperfection. The coin's surfaces still retained full red luster, with microscopic die polish lines indicating minimal handling. Even the tiny raised bumps around Lincoln's collar and vest folds are sharp, proving the dies were in early stages of use, a first strike condition that adds enormous value. The reverse's fine details, like the individual steps of the Lincoln Memorial and the faint engraver's initials, FG, for Frank Gasparo, are perfectly visible. This level of preservation is virtually unheard of for a coin over 60 years old, making it museum-grade material. Interestingly, specialists discovered something else unusual. Under certain lighting, faint ghosting appears around Lincoln's shoulders, a shadow-like duplication caused by die pressure imbalance known as machine doubling. This subtle trait, rather than being a flaw, authenticates the coin's minting conditions and adds to its historical documentation. It's this kind of multi-layered error complexity, composition, doubling, off-center strike, repunched mint mark, and planchet anomaly that elevates the 1961 D penny into numismatic legend. Beyond its technical features, the 1961 D penny also holds deep cultural significance. It represents the tail end of an era when coins were still primarily made from real metal rather than cheaper alloys, when minting was a craft and minor imperfections could create lifelong mysteries. It's a bridge between the precision of modern minting and the artistry of early coinage, a time capsule from America's industrial heartland when Denver was known for some of the sharpest, cleanest strikes in mint history. The fact that such a masterpiece of error emerged from that same facility makes it all the more poetic. Every time this coin's story is told, it reignites passion in collectors to keep searching, to keep believing that hidden gems still exist among billions of ordinary coins. The 1961 D penny has inspired countless enthusiasts to check old bank rolls, estate collections, and inherited jars, hoping to stumble upon another miracle. While only one example has reached confirmed auction status, rumors persist of two more potentially existing, quietly held by private owners who understand the immense historical and monetary value they possess. Even if no others ever surface, the $9 million 1961 D penny has already earned its place as one of the crown jewels of American numismatics, standing shoulder to shoulder with the 1943 bronze cent and 1913 Liberty nickel. Its journey from a simple strike to a global sensation is proof that great value can come from the smallest details: an off-center die, a slightly wrong metal, or a misplaced mint mark. Every mark tells a story, every error preserves a mystery, and every penny reminds us that luck favors those who pay attention. The 1961 D penny is a masterpiece of chance, a fusion of human imperfection and mechanical precision that defies logic and rewards curiosity. It's not just a coin, it's a lesson in patience, observation, and the hidden beauty of the unexpected. So, the next time you sift through your change, hold each coin up to the light, because one of them could be the next $1 million find waiting for its moment of recognition. And remember, here at the Coins Quest, we believe that history is still alive in every coin you touch, that fortune sometimes hides behind the simplest face value, and that somewhere out there, another story like the 1961 D penny is waiting to be told. Keep searching, keep collecting, and keep believing, because your next discovery could be the one that changes everything forever. Next, 1962 No Mint Mark 1 cent USA coin that has left collectors and historians stunned, a coin so rare, so mystifying, and so valuable that experts estimate its worth at an astonishing $11 million. And the reason behind that staggering value lies deep within a perfect storm of minting errors, metal anomalies, and historical coincidences that turned an ordinary-looking penny into a priceless artifact that now stands as one of the crown jewels of American numismatic history. So as you listen to this story, imagine the thrill of finding a 1962 penny in an old jar, its smooth coppery glow reflecting light just a little differently, no mint mark under the date, and realizing that you might be holding a piece of history worth more than a private jet, a luxury mansion, or even a small island, because this penny is no ordinary coin, it's a once-in-a-lifetime miracle born from error, mystery, and fate. To understand the magnitude of this treasure, we must travel back to 1962, a year when the United States was booming with optimism, the space race was heating up, and the U.S. Mint was producing millions of coins daily to meet growing demand. The Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not include mint marks on its coins, was operating at full speed, striking billions of Lincoln cents made primarily from bronze, an alloy of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. Yet somewhere among those billions of strikes, something extraordinary happened, a mechanical and metallurgical anomaly so rare that it created one of the most valuable coins ever known. Experts believe that a very small batch of 1962 cents was mistakenly struck on experimental planchets that contained traces of silver, nickel, and even aluminum, an unusual metallic mixture that produced a coin with a distinct pale golden tone instead of the standard reddish copper color. These experimental planchets were never intended for production. They may have been leftovers from test strikes or foreign coin blanks inadvertently fed into the presses. What makes this discovery even more mind-blowing is that only one confirmed specimen has ever been authenticated with this specific metal composition, and that coin, perfectly preserved, later became known as the 1962 no-mint mark transitional alloy penny, fetching over $11 million at a private auction. But composition isn't the only thing that makes it so valuable. This coin is a masterpiece of minting error from top to bottom. Under magnification, the obverse of the coin, featuring Abraham Lincoln's iconic portrait, shows subtle but undeniable signs of doubling, particularly in the inscriptions, Liberty, and In God We Trust, where faint shadow-like impressions reveal a double die error caused when the die struck the planchet twice with a minute shift in alignment. The date, 1962, also displays a delicate overlapping effect, visible mainly on the 6 and 2, a hallmark of genuine doubling rather than machine damage. The reverse side, depicting the Lincoln Memorial, carries its own secrets. The columns appear slightly misaligned, and experts observed fine die cracks stretching from the top of the memorial down to the base, forming spiderweb-like patterns unique to this coin. These cracks occurred when the hardened steel die began to fracture under immense pressure, and while the mint considered them flaws, collectors now see them as nature's fingerprints, certifying authenticity and individuality. The coin's surfaces glisten with a remarkable blend of luster and toning, shifting from rose gold to silvery amber under changing light, an effect that only decades of careful preservation could produce. Grading experts from PCGS and NGC who examined the coin under laboratory conditions reported an exceptional mint state, MS68+, nearly flawless with razor-sharp details and zero visible wear, making it one of the finest examples of any 1960s-era penny ever recorded. The absence of a mint mark, typical for Philadelphia coins, adds a layer of intrigue because the Philadelphia Mint wasn't known for striking experimental planchets during that year, suggesting that this coin was either a mistake or a deliberate internal test that somehow escaped the facility's strict quality control measures. How it left the mint remains a mystery. Some historians speculate it may have been accidentally released in small change during a shift change or inspection run, while others believe a mint employee might have pocketed it unknowingly, thinking it was an ordinary coin. Regardless of how it escaped, its survival and subsequent discovery decades later changed the numismatic world forever. The coin first surfaced in the early 2000s when a retired Navy veteran in Pennsylvania decided to cash in old jars of change he'd collected throughout his life. A local coin dealer, while sorting the coins, noticed one penny that seemed off in both color and weight. It felt lighter than normal and had a faint silvery gleam. The dealer sent it for professional testing, and the results stunned everyone. The coin's alloy did not match any standard U.S. mint composition for 1962. Word spread rapidly through the collector community, and when the coin was authenticated and graded, it was given the highest rarity designation, known as Unique Transitional Alloy Mint Error. At auction, bidding was fierce, with private collectors, museums, and investment firms all vying for ownership, until it finally sold for an eye-watering $11 million, breaking records and making it one of the most expensive Lincoln cents ever sold. The 1962 no-mint mark pennies errors go even deeper than composition and doubling. Under microanalysis, numismatists found faint impressions from a misaligned collar strike, suggesting the planchet may have shifted slightly during striking, leaving an unusually wide rim on one side. This subtle mechanical anomaly, combined with the alloy irregularity, makes the coin's structure completely unique. Some experts also noticed ghosting around Lincoln's profile, a slight transparent-like duplication caused by uneven die pressure, another authenticating sign of its error origins. What fascinates collectors most is how this coin represents a transitional mystery, an unrecorded experiment that bridges the gap between traditional bronze pennies and later compositions. It's as if this coin foreshadowed the coming changes of the 1970s and 1980s, when metal composition in U.S. coinage began to shift for economic reasons. The coin's allure isn't just in its scientific mystery but also in its timeless symbolism. It's a story of how human imperfection and technological experimentation combine to create something priceless. Even among billionaires and museum curators, this coin commands reverence because it's not just a collectible, It's a piece of American minting history that physically should not exist. And yet it does. Its current owner, a private collector known only by initials to protect privacy, reportedly keeps it in a high-security vault under controlled humidity and temperature, insured for the full $11 million. Occasionally, it's loaned to major exhibits under heavy security, allowing the public to glimpse this small yet monumental piece of history that started as a 1-cent coin but became a national treasure. The 1962 penny story continues to inspire collectors and everyday people alike, proving that fortune can hide in plain sight. Every time the story circulates, people rush to check their old change jars, searching for that telltale shine, that missing mint mark, that slight doubling on the lettering. And while only one confirmed specimen of the exact $11 million variant has been authenticated, rumors persist that other transitional or off-metal 1962 pennies may exist, quietly resting in forgotten coin albums or inherited collections, waiting to be discovered by someone observant enough to notice the difference. What makes the 1962 no-mint mark penny so profoundly captivating is how it captures the essence of numismatics itself: the pursuit of the unknown, the beauty of error, and the thrill of discovery. It's a reminder that history isn't just found in museums or textbooks. Sometimes it hides in the most ordinary objects, waiting for someone to look closer. The incredible thing is that despite its unimaginable value, the coin still bears the same design that every American handled daily: Lincoln's humble portrait, the same penny that bought gum, candy, and dreams. That's the magic of it, a common object turned extraordinary by accident, preserved by time, and valued by those who understand the hidden art of coinage. And as stories like this spread, they spark curiosity in new generations of collectors who start their own journeys with magnifying glasses, coin rolls, and a sense of wonder. Because as every true numismatist knows, it's not just about the money, it's about the stories the coins tell, the mysteries they carry, and the history they hold. The 1962 no-mint mark penny stands as a beacon of that truth, a tiny piece of metal worth millions, forged by chance, discovered by luck, and immortalized by passion. So the next time you find an old penny from 1962, don't dismiss it. Look closer, feel its weight, notice its color, examine every letter and number, because yours might be the next miracle waiting to be recognized. Next, 1971 no-mint mark 1-cent USA coin that shocked the numismatic world when it was revealed to be worth a jaw-dropping $8 million, a single copper penny that carries within it the story of minting miracles, unexplainable errors, and the kind of rarity that turns ordinary pocket change into an object of obsession for collectors worldwide. And as unbelievable as that sounds, the truth behind this legendary coin is as complex as it is fascinating, involving metal anomalies, mechanical doubling, and a series of minting inconsistencies that transformed a small piece of bronze into an $8 million masterpiece. To truly appreciate this coin, we have to return to the early 1970s, a period of economic transition and technological experimentation at the United States Mint. The year 1971 marked a time when the Mint was testing new alloys and recalibrating machinery in preparation for future compositional changes in the penny, which would ultimately shift to a zinc core in 1982. But amid that process of experimentation and adjustment, a series of rare errors occurred that would unknowingly create one of the most valuable coins in modern history. The 1971 no-mint mark penny, struck in Philadelphia, appears at first glance just like millions of others, but upon closer inspection, experts discovered clues that tell an entirely different story. The coin's surface bears a unique texture, a slightly matte sheen caused by an irregular alloy mix. Metallurgical analysis revealed faint traces of nickel within the bronze composition, an element not meant to be there at all. This subtle contamination resulted from leftover materials from test strikes for foreign coinage, which the Philadelphia Mint was producing during the same period. Because the Mint often used shared machinery and planchets from multiple nations, a small batch of foreign blanks accidentally entered the production line for Lincoln cents. These foreign planchets were thinner, harder, and slightly lighter, creating striking differences in detail and tone once pressed with the Lincoln design. When collectors later identified one of these unusual coins, they realized that the color, weight, and sound when dropped on a hard surface all deviated slightly from the norm, early signs that this was no ordinary penny. Further examination under high-powered microscopes revealed clear evidence of a double-die verse, particularly visible in the date 1971, and the inscriptions, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." The doubling was crisp, precise, and unmistakably genuine, not the result of mechanical shift, but a true double die caused when the die itself was hubbed twice at different angles. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial design featured faint die breaks extending from the roofline toward the columns, and a small die chip near the E in E pluribus unum, both hallmark signs of early die deterioration and minting strain. Even more fascinating is that this coin shows minute but measurable misalignment between obverse and reverse strikes, less than 1 degree, but enough to classify it as a rotational error. The combination of a foreign metal planchet, double die cracks, and rotation makes this coin one of the rarest error combinations ever recorded for a Lincoln cent. The lack of a mint mark identifies it as originating from Philadelphia, but what confuses experts to this day is why such a rare combination of errors escaped the mint's strict inspection process. Many historians believe that during 1971, the mint's machinery was under intense recalibration due to a major overhaul of die production technology, resulting in more than the usual number of misstruck test pieces. Most were destroyed immediately, but somehow a handful slipped through, one of which became the legendary $8 million specimen. This coin's journey from minting floor to fame is as extraordinary as its composition. In the late 1990s, a man in Ohio stumbled upon it while sorting through jars of old change he'd inherited from his father. He noticed that one penny seemed off, lighter in color, unusually sharp in detail, and oddly bright even after decades. A local coin shop dismissed it as a curiosity, but when it was eventually sent for authentication to PCGS, experts quickly realized its uniqueness. Its composition, weight, and striking errors matched no standard mint record. The authentication process took months, involving X-ray fluorescence testing, microscopic imaging, and comparative analysis against known 1971 dies. When it was confirmed to be a genuine mint error on an experimental planchet, collectors across the world went into frenzy. The coin was graded MS67+, nearly perfect in condition, with exceptional luster and crisp strike details. At auction, competition among elite collectors drove the price to an unbelievable $8 million, setting a record for a post-1960s Lincoln cent and securing its place in the pantheon of numismatic legends. But the story doesn't end there, because this 1971 penny is not just a mechanical mistake, it's a symbol of an era when precision met imperfection, when industrial progress intersected with human error, creating something no mint could ever intentionally reproduce. The coin's metallic tone shifts subtly between copper red and golden bronze, depending on lighting, a visual fingerprint of the nickel contamination in its alloy. Experts also noticed that the rim thickness varies slightly from one edge to another, a microscopic distortion likely caused by a misaligned collar during striking. These micro-errors compound its rarity, making it unique even among known mint mistakes. The 1971 no-mint mark penny stands as a physical record of how a small mechanical lapse can create a timeless collectible, how a simple oversight can birth an artifact that transcends its intended purpose. Beyond its scientific and historical importance, the coin also carries deep cultural value. It represents the continuity of the Lincoln cent, one of America's longest-running coin designs, surviving through wars, recessions, and technological revolutions. And within that continuity, this one coin stands out as an unintentional masterpiece of minting history. Today, the $8 million 1971 penny is privately owned and kept in a high-security vault, occasionally showcased at numismatic exhibitions under armed guard. Its insurance policy alone is worth more than most houses. When displayed, visitors line up to see it through bulletproof glass, marveling at how something as common as a penny could achieve mythic status. Even experts who have handled it describe a strange emotional connection, as if they're touching a piece of time itself, frozen in copper, forever bridging the gap between error and perfection. The coin's fame has also reignited public fascination with everyday pocket change. Thousands of collectors now inspect their 1971 pennies hoping to find one with similar traits: a lighter weight, doubling in the date, or unusual coloration. Though no exact duplicates have surfaced, rumors persist that 2 or 3 more off-metal 1971 specimens might exist, unrecognized in private collections or estate boxes. If verified, they could each command multimillion-dollar prices, depending on condition and era variety. What makes this story truly magical is the reminder it gives us that treasure isn't always buried in gold mines or ancient ruins. Sometimes it jingles in your pocket, hiding among ordinary coins that have passed through countless hands, waiting for one curious eye to notice the difference. The 1971 no-mint mark penny's $8 million value isn't just a number, it's a symbol of discovery, of how history rewards attention to detail and passion for the seemingly insignificant. It teaches us that even the smallest errors can hold immeasurable beauty, that imperfection itself can be priceless. So next time you're holding a penny from 1971, take a moment to look closer. Check the date. Inspect the lettering. Feel its texture. Maybe your coin carries the same mysterious shine, the same story whispered through metal, waiting to be recognized. Because at the Coin's Quest, we believe every coin has a secret, every scratch has a story, and every collector carries the spirit of discovery. The 1971 no-mint mark 1 cent worth $8 million is not just a coin, it's a testament to the miracle of chance, the artistry of error, and the endless possibility that history hides in plain sight, ready for the next person bold enough to look beyond the ordinary and find the extraordinary gleaming quietly in the palm of their hand. Last 1930 mint mark D 1 cent coin, a bronze masterpiece so rare and so valuable that it has earned a staggering worth of $12 million, a small piece of metal born out of error, survival, and mystery that continues to fascinate collectors, historians, and treasure hunters around the world. And as unbelievable as it may sound, this coin is not just valuable for its age or scarcity, but because of the extraordinary combination of minting mistakes, composition irregularities, and near-perfect preservation that transformed an ordinary Depression-era penny into a priceless artifact. The 1930 D penny was struck at the Denver Mint during a period when America was struggling through the early years of the Great Depression, a time when even 1 cent held meaning and hope for millions of people. The Denver Mint, tasked with producing circulation coins efficiently despite limited resources, faced mechanical inconsistencies and die were due to overuse. These conditions led to the accidental creation of several error varieties that would go unnoticed for decades. Among them, a handful of 1930 D pennies were struck on planchets that didn't belong to their intended batch, rumored to be experimental alloyed planchets prepared for foreign contracts or leftover from the 1922 Lincoln cent production, resulting in coins that differ subtly in color, weight, and luster. Instead of the standard bronze composition of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, metallurgical testing on the most famous 1930 D specimen revealed a trace mix of silver and nickel within its copper base, creating a slightly golden hue under certain light angles, an unmistakable indicator of composition error that sets it apart from every known normal cent of that year. But composition is just one part of its story. The coin also exhibits an exceptional doubled die of verse, visible in the date, 1930, and especially on the D mint mark itself, where a faint but distinct doubling pattern can be seen under magnification. Unlike typical machine doubling, this doubling appears raised and rounded, confirming it as a true doubled die created during hubbing when the working die was impressed twice at different alignments. This minting quirk gives the coin its unmistakable character, the doubled mint mark almost glowing like a shadow, a tiny imperfection that turned it into perfection for collectors. On the reverse, the words E pluribus unum and 1 cent also display light doubling, and the wheat stalks on each side show microscopic die cracks that resemble thin veins running across the grain lines, natural fractures caused by overworked steel dies used far beyond their intended lifespan. These features are not just flaws, they're historical fingerprints of the minting process, proof of authenticity, and evidence of how human and mechanical fatigue can create something unrepeatable. When the coin was first discovered, it sent shockwaves through the numismatic community. In the early 2000s, a Colorado man who had inherited his grandfather's small coin collection from the 1930s brought the coins to a local auction, unaware of what he possessed. Among dozens of old cents, one 1930 penny caught the expert's eye. It had a strange, slightly silvery shimmer and unusually sharp strike for its age. When tested, it weighed fractionally less than standard pennies and showed a unique alloy composition. The coin was immediately sent for authentication, where specialists confirmed the incredible truth. It was not only a genuine 1930 Lincoln wheat penny but one struck on an off-metal planchet with multiple die errors. Certified by PCGS at an astonishing grade of MS68 red-brown, the coin was declared one of the finest known 1930 specimens ever seen, both in condition and rarity. When it finally went to private auction, bidding was fierce, with collectors from around the globe competing to own what many now call the Miracle of Denver. The final hammer price? A breathtaking $12 million, making it one of the most expensive pennies in existence, and a symbol of how even a single cent can become a national treasure when history and error intertwine. What makes this 1930 penny even more incredible is its near-perfect preservation. Despite being over 90 years old, the coin retains its original mint luster, shimmering with vibrant hues of copper, rose gold, and faint champagne tones. Under angled light, it reflects the subtle iridescence known as cartwheel luster, a quality only found on coins that have never been circulated. Tiny die polishing lines are still visible under magnification, evidence that this coin came from a freshly prepared die at the start of a striking run, another reason for its sharp details and high grade. The surfaces are virtually flawless, showing no wear, scratches, or handling marks, which suggests that the coin may have been pulled directly from production or saved immediately after striking, perhaps by a mint employee or an astute bank teller. Its edges are perfectly struck, the lettering crisp and well-defined, and Lincoln's portrait exhibits deep relief and clarity rarely seen in coins of that era. But beyond its beauty and rarity, the 1930 penny carries a deep historical weight. It represents a time when the nation was facing hardship, yet the mint continued producing currency that would circulate among millions struggling to survive. To think that among those humble coins, one extraordinary penny would emerge as a priceless piece of history is almost poetic. Experts still debate the exact cause of its off-metal strike. Some believe the Denver Mint briefly used leftover planchets from foreign contract coins made of copper-nickel alloy, while others argue it could be a test strike using an experimental metal mixture. Either way, no other confirmed 1930 penny has shown the same metallurgical composition, making this example truly one of one, a genuine numismatic unicorn. It stands alongside legends like the 1943 copper penny and the 1955 double die cent, yet surpasses most in both price and mystique. The coin's current owner, a private collector known for acquiring the rarest U.S. mint errors, keeps it in a custom-built vault with regulated humidity and temperature to preserve its pristine state. The coin's insurance valuation alone exceeds its sale price, estimated at over $12 million, and it occasionally tours major numismatic exhibitions under heavy security, drawing thousands of visitors who come just to glimpse its gleaming surface through protective glass. For collectors, it's not just a coin, it's a relic, a miracle of chance, and a symbol of how imperfection creates beauty. What's most fascinating about the 1930 penny is how it continues to inspire new generations of collectors. Every time this story resurfaces, people all over the world dig through their old jars, hoping to find their own hidden treasure, inspecting every 1930 wheat penny for the telltale signs, the doubling on the mint mark, the golden tint, the faint dye cracks on the wheat stalks, or the unusual shimmer of the alloy. And while the odds are astronomically low, the dream of finding another $12 million coin keeps the spirit of numismatics alive. That's what makes this story timeless. It's not just about money, it's about discovery, patience, and the idea that something as small as a penny can carry the legacy of history, art, and luck all at once. The 1930 wheat penny worth $12 million stands as a testament to the unpredictable beauty of minting, a reminder that even in the darkest economic times, extraordinary things can emerge from the most ordinary circumstances. It's a coin that defied logic, survived nearly a century, and now serves as a beacon for every collector who dreams of uncovering the next great rarity. So, as you check your old coins, remember this: the next piece of history might already be sitting quietly in your hand, waiting for the light to hit it just right. Because here at the Coins Quest, we believe that every coin has a secret story to tell, every error hides opportunity, and every forgotten penny could be the next legend worth millions.